Okay, so my first question for you, what holiday is tomorrow that we're not having school?
The field worker says
Now it has been renamed. We'll talk
farm
about that in a minute. It is now
Farm
Farm Workers Day.
farm workers day.
Yes, until last week it was Cesar Chavez Day.
What mean farm workers?
If you've been, oh, that's a good question. If you've been watching the news, you'll know why it's not Cesar Chavez Day anymore. We found out some bad things about him. Okay. So, what's a farm worker?
People who work in the lands, like with fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
The farm picking.
Yeah, so a farm worker is those people out in the fields picking your strawberries or your grapes or your corn, right? Those are farm workers, literally. Okay. So
Oh,
yeah. So let me give you a little past history on this. Okay, some of you may know this, but um
it's
so
really it's important. They here teacher farm workers.
it's what?
That is really important. Farm
Yes.
worker is really important. They
Yes, very
here in
important. That's
America.
our food, right? We can't
Wow.
survive without food. So here's the
Yeah, I
thing.
know. I know.
You yeah, you may not, a lot of people I'm sure know this, but if you don't,
Yeah.
farm workers, it's a difficult job.
Yeah.
It's a very physical job. It does not pay a lot of money,
No, it's
right?
Yeah.
So even now, probably there's a lot of immigrants working out because it's their first job in the country, right? If you don't have the experience or the English or whatever it is. Okay.
In my country, just we have a work day. It's just one day. It's a first May 1st,
Labor Day?
Labor Day.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, we have Labor Day here too. In August, September.
Yeah.
But this became specifically for farm workers. And part of that is yeah, Araceli's commenting on this in the chat. Um,
Wow.
so
That is
what
good.
what happened is years ago, probably about 70 years ago now, this was in the 50s, 60s. Um, farm workers basically had no power and no rights. Right? They could say, go out, work in the fields for 12 hours. No, you don't get lunch, you don't get, right? For very little money. And because a lot of them were immigrants or poor or etc., right? They had to work so that they could eat and survive, right? So in the early 60s, a man named Cesar Chavez, um, oh yeah, Christina in Bakersfield, yeah, a lot of farms out there. Um, a man named Cesar Chavez decided to get all the he looked at this and he said this is wrong. So he decided to organize the farm workers to try to get rights. Okay. So he actually started an organization to try to put all the farm workers together to fight for their rights. Okay. And he organized one of the big things. He actually started this in Central California. So Central California, they make a lot of wine,
mhm,
right? What do you use to make wine?
grapes.
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 And all the farm workers on the vineyards picking the grapes, okay, were these poor people that were working 12 hours a day with no breaks. Okay. And so one of the things he did was organize the farm workers, okay? And then he arranged what we call a boycott. Anybody know what is boycott?
No.
Stop it.
English.
No.
boycott the problem,
Something.
manifest.
Yeah, like
Or-
organization. The people organize like for to doing a stop the work.
Not the work, but don't.
When I have injustice in the war, the workers, for example.
Yeah, but the boycott doesn't involve just the workers, it involves everybody in the population. A boycott means don't buy the product.
Oh, the products.
So he organized, he started this big boycott telling everybody do not buy grapes, do not buy wine. So that the owners would lose money and then start treating the farm workers better.
Teacher, like boycott, it's like protest.
It's a form of protests.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Araceli put in the chat, yes, you could stop doing your job is another kind of protest. Yeah. A boycott is basically where you don't use or buy the product. So it's not just the workers. They're saying everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody in California, don't buy grapes, don't buy wine. Because then the owners lose a lot of money. And then they will pay attention and listen. And maybe we can change things that way. So that's a boycott. There's a movie, Whoopi Goldberg was actually in it, called The Long Walk Home. It's where Black people had a boycott of the buses. They said, don't ride the bus because it wasn't fair to Black people. So they started not riding the bus.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, Christina's. If you look at Christina's thing in the chat, that's pretty funny.
Good.
Stop buying gas until the price goes down. Yeah,
Yeah.
good luck on that one.
That is
Um,
difficult. Difficult.
Anyway, this movie called The Long Walk Home shows that it was a true story. They actually stopped riding the buses for over a year. A year. They walked to work, they carpooled, they walked miles and miles and miles. That's why it's called The Long Walk Home. And so finally the bus companies gave in and said, okay, we will stop discriminating against Black people. But it took over a year of nobody riding the buses. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the idea of a boycott is don't use the product, don't buy the product. Okay. So this is one of the things that was organized to help the farm workers. Okay. And the other thing that he started was a union.
Mm,
So what is a union?
Union is a all together, all people together for one object.
Let me put another word in here. So all the workers work together to get better treatment, I guess you could say. Okay.
Mhm.
And the
Is it
farm
good
workers never
to
had a
work
union.
for a union, teacher? Is
Pardon?
it good? Is it good to work for a union?
You don't actually work for the union, and the union is part of what helps you. But I will tell you, as a part-time teacher, our union helps us a lot. I will tell you, I like unions. I mean, I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal, but I also see some of the problems with unions. I think there's good and bad. But in general, that's the idea of unions is unions, workers' unions try to make conditions and jobs better for the workers. That's their purpose. That's their idea. Right. So yeah. So what Jerry said is everybody working together. Because if you have one person who's complaining, the boss is just going to say, okay, I'll get somebody else. But if you have everybody in the company working together and saying, hey, we're not going to do this, now they have to listen because otherwise their business is gone, right? You can't do your business with 0 workers. So this is the idea of a union. Okay. So this is the idea of Farm Workers Day. Okay. It's to honor the farm workers. Okay. Who fought for their rights.
Mm.
Okay. And again, if you've been listening to the news, like I said, Cesar Chavez will always be part of the history there. But they found out some bad things about him. So just last week, this used to be called Cesar Chavez Day. Tomorrow, it's now Farm Workers Day. So this is the holiday for tomorrow. Okay.
But this is,
That is amazing, teacher.
I have a question. Is the last date tomorrow? Is the same name, huh? For the next year? Is it change the name?
They've changed the name, so now every year March 31st will be Farm Workers Day, not Cesar Chavez Day.
Yes.
Yeah, until last week it was Cesar Chavez Day.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at the syllabus for this class,
Mm-hmm.
if you go on Canvas and look at my syllabus,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go change that. It
Yeah.
says Cesar Chavez Day, March 31st. So-
Yes. Yeah, but I hear in the news is that tomorrow is the last same name. The next.
Yeah, I think everybody, California has already changed the name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are some states that have not officially changed the name yet. But I think it will happen. I'm pretty sure it'll happen.
And
So.
they change the name the Sam's School, some Sparks.
They're talking about changing parks and schools and street names. Yes. So, yeah,
You know from the street East LA teacher?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
They changed.
It's going to take a lot of time and money to do all that changing. I can tell you that. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to it then, because this you're going to be doing a lot of. This is what we want to talk about. Okay. So I want to get your ideas first. Okay. So what are rights? Right now we're talking about California. Okay. Because
Okay.
different states may have a little different. So what are rights that workers have? So when you go to work, what are your rights? What are the things that, the employer, the boss, the company has to give you?
Medical?
Huh?
Some medical?
No, that's what Sandra, is that what you were saying?
Breaks?
Breaks. Okay.
Pay.
Medical, things like insurance and stuff, that's a benefit.
Yeah, insurance. Oh.
It's not required. I don't get it because I'm part-time.
Mm.
Yeah. So hold on. Stop doing I didn't want capitals. Okay. Breaks, yes, your employer is required to give you breaks, and then there are certain rules for like how many, sorry. So there are certain rules as far as like how many hours do you need to work before you get a break? What kind of breaks do you get? Okay, but breaks definitely. All right, what else?
The hours? No?
How do you mean hours?
Better
Like
pay,
if,
teacher. Better
that
pay.
if you
Hold on. Let Sandra finish, Jerry. Okay, go ahead.
like you can work like 8 hours and then if the 9 is an extra? No? Overtime?
Overtime.
Oh, okay.
Overtime is so over 8 hours.
Hours,
It's
yeah.
overtime. Okay.
6 days.
Computer, stop doing this. Okay, it's just gonna do capitals even though I don't want it to. All right, Jerry, you're next.
6 days.
Better pay, teacher. Money. More money.
Raises are not guaranteed, but minimum wage is a right. More money is not a right, but minimum wage is a right.
Yeah.
Remember, you're talking about right versus yeah. Okay, Ruben. Ruben.
People when people is sick.
Time.
Sick time or sick leave. Is that what we call that? Yeah. This is really annoying when my computer wants to change things. I paid for the computer. I should choose what to do. Okay.
When the woman is in lactancy,
Or
teacher?
pregnant?
Pregnant, pregnant.
Okay. What we now call family leave, right?
Really.
Sorry, this is really annoying when my computer does stuff like this. Family leave. Edith has one in the protection from harassment.
What is harassment? Oh, discrimination.
Harassment can be different things like harassment can be like there's a man at your work that keeps wanting to go on a date with you. And he keeps asking you and asking you and asking you, hey, go out with me. Or he like touches you and you don't want him to touch you. If people make comments about your race or that you're a female or that you're whatever. So that's harassment and discrimination, kind of. Yeah. But you're guaranteed protection from that. California has really strong laws on that. Mm-hmm. Vacation time. Nope, not a right. That's part of benefits. That's a good question. I should ask about that. I think vacation is it's like part of the job. So if you're a full-time job, if you have a full-time job, usually there is a certain amount of vacation time that goes with the job. Like I said, part-timers, we don't get vacation unless it's a break. Then we don't get paid. All right. Reporting. Stop that. Reporting problems. Okay. Without what we call retaliation. Anybody know what that is? Retaliation?
No.
Okay, so retaliation is when they get back at you. Revenge is another word. Yeah. So like you're reporting a problem in the company and they don't want you to report a problem. So you report the problem and all of a sudden, you get you get fewer hours. Or okay, you're not going to get overtime anymore, or we're going to make your job more difficult because you reported a problem that we wanted to keep quiet. That's retaliation when they go back at you, right? That is illegal. You have the right to report problems without your boss now, taking it out on you. All right. Araceli, I saw your other one, but I'm going to see if somebody else comes up with it. There's another. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Breaks, overtime, minimum wage. Everybody know what is minimum wage?
The lowest pay.
The salary.
Yes. Yes. So, whatever the lowest salary is for that state, it differs between states. You cannot pay less than that legally. You have the right to get at least minimum wage. All right, good. We're getting some good stuff here. Yay. Okay. Anything else?
Teacher, how do you say sindicato de trabajadores in English?
Union.
Union.
In
Mm-hmm. Undo. Yes, you have the right to actually create a union. Have you heard about Starbucks? You know, Starbucks is trying to create a union and the company is really angry at them. But legally, they can do that, at least in California. Mhm. All right. More ideas? You guys are doing good. You got almost my whole list. There's a couple more.
Equal treatment, men's and women's.
Yeah, that would be under discrimination. So let's put that under. And not just men and women, but, you know, old and young, different races. So that goes under, yeah. Mhm. I have a couple more. Nobody else thinks of them. Minimum salary is, how do I put this? So minimum wage for the state is for everybody. But of course, different jobs have a different salaries, right? If you're an engineer for an airline company, you're probably going to make more money than an ESL teacher. Okay. But minimum wage is the lowest, period. So if you have what we call an entry level job, right, you're starting at the bottom, there is a minimum that they have to pay you. And then different jobs have different salaries. Okay. All right. I'll put Araceli's other one in here. Safety. You have the right to be in a workplace that is safe. So that means if you have a job like as a welder, does everybody know what is welder?
Teacher, environment is similar training, for example? No.
Oh, that's my next one. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So for example, if you're a welder, which is this,
Mm.
they have to give you the helmet, the gloves, the apron, right? So that you're safe. They cannot make you work without the safety stuff. Yes, PPE, personal protective equipment.
Mhm.
I don't know why Araceli wants to stay with me because she knows everything already. What?
Mhm.
Okay. So who just said that? Alejandro?
The environment is similar training. Training, no?
Okay, and there's another part to this. Okay.
Your uh,
If there's something on your job that requires training, you are actually they have to make sure you understand the training. So if you don't understand the training in English, they are required to give you training in your language. A lot of people don't know that.
okay.
Although this is really about health and safety. Okay. So okay, Christina just brought up something in the chat. I'll get into that in a minute. Good job, people. Good job. Okay. Okay, so Christina put in the chat, all these rights don't matter when people don't have papers. So let me tell you something. If you don't have papers, okay, it could be you just don't get a job. Okay. But again, in California tends to have very strong laws on this kind of thing. They still cannot discriminate against you. It is illegal. Now, it may be illegal for you to be working there because you're not permitted to work in California. So that's the hard part. But still, if they agree to hire you, they have to agree to these rights. Your immigration status doesn't matter at that point. If they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law. Okay. It's just like at the moment, we're supposed to have the same, immigrants are supposed to have the same rights as citizens. I know with our government right now, that's not happening, but anybody who is standing in this country has rights, period. That's what it says in the Constitution. I know reality does not match, Yeah. Sometimes leads or managers tell you if you don't understand English, they can fire you. Yeah, no, they can't. Technically, it's not legal, and that's when you go find a lawyer and sue them, get lots of money. Okay. And why did they give you the job in the first place if they know that your English is not enough to do the job safely? Then they shouldn't have hired you. Anyway, nice job, people. All right, let's see if there's anything on my list that you didn't get. I think you guys got everything. Reading, discrimination, retaliation. Oh, okay, there is one more. Okay, last one is basically this is called know your pay. Okay. So when you get a paycheck, you actually have the right to be able to see how much you were paid per hour or whatever it is, how many hours you worked. Okay. All the deductions, all of that information has to be on your paycheck. They can't just, give you a paycheck that says, $200 and with no information on how much you worked, what the deductions were, etc. That is a right for you to know exactly what and how you're getting paid. Good job, people. All right. So I have a little discussion on this. Questions are a little more complicated because we're talking about a big topic here, right? Not just repeating grammar. So let me show you these. You can take a picture if you like. Okay. So if you would like a picture or a screenshot, now's the time. I'm going to pause the recording for this part. Okay, so let me show you what I got. Remember, no Zoom tomorrow. So what I did is I did a lot of similar stuff on Canvas. Okay, so as usual, start with here's what you're going to do. Learn about employee rights. Hey, we already did that. But most of your work on Canvas will be about the subject, so they're similar things. Okay. So, but there are a couple things I want you to note. Okay, Quizlet. I've got your vocabulary on Quizlet. If you remember this, you can flip the card. Okay. Go to the next card. Okay. Remember, you have the different study modes. So you can do matching, you can do spelling practice, all different kinds of practice. Okay, I love Quizlet. Okay. So one of the things it says here is practice so you are ready to complete the assignment on the next page. Because the next page is using the vocabulary. Okay. There are 20 vocabulary words that all have to do with workers' rights. Let me enlarge this a little bit. You will choose 10 of the 20. Okay. Create 10 sentences using your own English. Do not just give me a definition. Okay, I don't want to see a majority means more than half of a group. No. Okay, I want to see something like this. The majority of my students speak Spanish. Texting while driving is hazardous. Okay, so you're going to choose 10 of the words.
Using
Okay.
examples, like using examples.
I gave you a couple examples right here. Yeah. The idea is to use this in a nice, simple sentence with your English. No Google Translate, no AI, no Chat GPT, or because some of you are using it. I can tell. I can tell when you use it. Trust me.
Really?
I know you
Oh
well
my
enough
God.
now.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, okay, that's better than I could ever write on my best day, and I'm a teacher. I'm an English teacher. So no, you're not going to learn that way.
Mm-hmm.
You're just
It's too
copying
perfect.
what some robot did. Okay, you're not going to learn the English that way.
It's a very famous Chat GPT.
Yeah. I use Claude, but
I
okay.
can do the how I just never.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
what
like
it
I
is.
said, I mean, it's a good thing for some things, but if you want to learn it yourself, just
Yeah.
copying what a computer tells you, you won't learn anything.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't have
I mean, I'm not
interesting
saying this
mind.
for me because you use a computer to do your sentences. It's easy for me to grade because I'm like, oh, okay, it's all perfect.
and
Okay.
and nothing Chat GPT.
But you're not learning anything. Christina,
Mm.
question?
Teacher, I have a teacher in high school in my country, and when we do a test, she leave the classroom and said, if you wanna get copy, it's okay. You're not gonna learning
Oh my,
nothing.
oh, okay, yeah, same thing. You're not going to learn anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't leave the room when there's a test. Anyway.
you're
It's a
lying
Okay.
yourself.
I get my pay.
Okay, next thing I gave you. It's a podcast about employee rights. It's all about employee rights. So same topic. Okay. Since we went over a lot of this today, you should recognize some of this, but I'm not going to lie. This is a difficult podcast. A lot of big language in this one. Okay. So there are only 2 questions to answer. Okay. The podcast is 6 minutes and 25 seconds. Okay. I wanted to show you this. Does everybody know this little gear thing
Mhm.
for settings? If you
Yeah.
click on this and then speed, you can actually slow it down to 75%. I would not do 50% because then it doesn't sound like English anymore. But you can change this to 75% and it will go slower. Okay. So, but like I said, I just gave you 2 questions, very basic. Okay. Okay, go away. And it's how many of you have told me, teacher, I need practice listening? Here it is. Use it. Okay. All right, next. The reading, it's exactly the same things that we went over today. It just gives more specific definitions. You guys came up with all of this today. So Exactly the same thing we talked about. One suggestion I made here, do the podcast. That's the page before. Do the listening. And then after you read the story, go back and listen again. I guarantee you'll understand more. Because now you've been, now you've been reading all these things. Then you go back to the podcast, you're like, ooh, I understand a little more. Like I said, I'm not going to lie. The reading's pretty easy. The podcast is hard. Okay. And then finally, don't worry, all of this is not due till, later in the week. Your discussion this week is employee rights. Everything's the same topic because we have a holiday, okay? Choose 2 of the rights that we talked about and compare them to your country. Okay? And then reply, of course. Okay. All right. So like I said, this isn't due until Friday. I think everything else I may do like Thursday, Friday, later in the week. This is only reading. No assignment here. The podcast, you just have 2 questions because I want you to really concentrate on the listening. Okay. And then a little verb work on Wednesday. Let me stop the recording.